Here's how the male loneliness epidemic actually works. Women get lonely too. We just prefer to be lonely.
If women were content to feel lonely rather than be with you, you wouldn't be posting all of these videos constantly for male attention.
Men who seek out trad wives are no different from men who purchase.
This is both the sound and look of a woman who took too many feminist studies classes and her brain is just fried.
It is beyond me how women are even desiring the current pool of men that exists. There are no good men.
Everything else that she said loses value to me when you come out and say there are no good men. Because now I know that you're just a man hater. And the thing is... Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Brand new episode of the Jedediah Bila show. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad that I can see you. You can see... Calm down. Can't really see you. I just like to make that joke and terrify you every now and then. Just, part of my Halloween charm, shall we say. All right. Excellent show for you today. And we're going to start with a bang about the male loneliness epidemic. This is the gift that keeps on giving, honestly. The hot takes on this. Ooh, sweet as sugar. Let's do it. Number one.
Here's how the male loneliness epidemic actually works. Women get lonely too. We just prefer to be lonely over being with you. Whereas men get lonely because they try to date women and women won't date them because you're insufferable.
Okay. So the implication is that women want to be alone. Guys don't want to be alone. So women will her implication is that women will choose to be alone rather than be with you because you're insufferable. Let's just be honest about this. No one wants to feel lonely. Okay? No one. It's not a good feeling. And there's a difference between being alone and feeling lonely, obviously, too. That's a whole separate conversation. But no one wants to feel lonely. Honey, listen, if women were content to feel lonely rather than be with you, you wouldn't be posting all of these videos constantly for male attention. So you may say, well, I'm not going to date him because I don't think he's up to par. And part of the reason for that is because, yes, you are lonely, but you're getting a lot of that gratification and a lot of that feeling of bonding with people because you're posting constantly on social and getting a flood of attention and comments and DMs and all of that stuff. So if you really, really were being honest about that and you were like, you know what, I would rather be lonely, take your posts down. Stop being so needy for male commentary and male attention, and stop being so needy for all of this stuff coming at you all the time by virtue of you constantly having to, chronicle your entire life everywhere. Also, this idea of the male loneliness epidemic, I think needs to be looked at. Some of these guys are lonely. That's true. But part of the reason is that they're looking at their options and they're like, I can't do it. This is not appealing to me anymore. So they're feeling lonely. There is a segment of guys that are feeling lonely because they don't want you anymore. They're not drawn to you anymore. So they would love to be with a woman who acts like a woman, who's feminine, who's respectful, who's loyal, who's, not going to cheat, who's not going to, their phone's not going to be, shady as what, who's not going to be posting all naked pictures online all the time looking for male attention while you got a boyfriend here that you got one foot out the door, who's not going to feel like, you can't ask her what she, hey, what do you want to bring to the relationship? How dare you? They're looking for a quality woman and they don't see it. So a lot of those men, it's not all guys who are just trying to seal the deal and can't make it happen. Is that some of it? Sure. But there's also guys who could seal the deal and don't want to. They're just like, well, I'm going to spend a boatload of money. I'm going to spend a boatload of time. And what's in it for me? Really, at the end of the day, am I getting any of my boxes checked in this? So they're choosing to just be lonely, and just because they're like, where are all the good women? Where have they gone? The bottom line is both men and women have the potential to be insufferable. And the fact that she can only put that onus on men again is no self-awareness in this game. There's no accountability. There's no self-awareness. There's no, what am I doing wrong? There's none of that in this game for all of these young women. It's just you're the problem. You're insufferable. You're not worth my time. You're not worth my energy. You're not worth anything. If they're not worth it, honey, why are you posting all these videos waiting for them to comment on them? Why not just really ignore them, right? If you really don't give a lick about them and you think they're not worth any, then just stop entertaining them all on TikTok all day long. Oof, God. Maybe guys just don't want to spend time with you. Just asking. All right, number 2, let's do it.
Men who seek out trad wives are no different from men who purchase. What is a man gaining whenever he has this trad wife? He is gaining somebody who is going to tend to the house and who also will be his personal buddy whenever he wants to have with her. In exchange, she is being compensated through housing, through whatever allowances this man gives her, and through whatever activities, dates, etc. that they go on together. Instead of pursuing an education or career, this woman has decided to give up her body to this man in exchange for whatever he can provide for her. And these men who purchase their wives, they are expecting their wives to never say no, to always submit to them, and to regard them as the head of the household. And the fact that marital rape is so common and normalized really just shows that men are not in these marriages for love. They're in it because they view women's bodies as something that they get to own.
So this is both the sound and look of a woman who took too many feminist studies classes and her brain is just fried, right? It's sad. She's young and she's completely fried. It's like she had that one professor and she ate and swallowed everything that was said. And it's so sad in so many ways. So let's just take some of this on because of course she's bothered by guys who want a traditional woman. Right? They hate these trad wives because trad wives are, first of all, they loathe happy trad wives. These very unhappy, career-driven, feminist women loathe happy trad wives because it bothers them that you chose as a trad wife potentially a path that was more traditional and feminine and didn't do all of this stuff that masculinized you and that you found happiness in that. So they feel compelled to do the masculine path because society, feminist studies, whoever told them to do it. And they're festering on the inside. Really, does she look happy to you? They're festering and then they look over at this woman baking a pie on a Saturday afternoon in her house and just not having a lot else to worry about other than her home. And she doesn't have to worry about, paying the rent or paying the mortgage or whatever. And it twists them. You shouldn't be happy. You're a slave. You're enslaved by your husband. And these women don't feel that way. And they're like, no, actually, this is the life I chose. No, you didn't choose it. You got trapped, right? Because they can't rationalize that woman. They can't accept it. They can't accept that woman would be happy because that would force them to acknowledge that they were sold a bag of shit and now they're miserable, right? And it's hard to reverse, right? Once you've been indoctrinated like that, I'm not saying it can't be reversed, but it's really hard because it's years and years and years of hearing the same crap. So again, what do these guys want? They want a traditional woman, right? A lot of these trad wives, and I hate that term. What does that even mean? But they're choosing that life. In fact, the vast majority of them are saying, I don't want to work. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go work for a boss that doesn't give a lick about me. I'd rather, have my work, so to speak, be in my home for a husband and a child or children, people who love and honor and respect what I'm doing. And I don't want to go to work. They don't want to do it. Right. And heaven forbid they found men who say, you don't have to do it. Cool. This works for me. I'll go out and do that and you do this and we make a great team. It's all kind of just an effort to wreck these traditional gender roles. Because really, if you wreck traditional gender roles, it's a breakdown of the whole family, right? You wreck what makes a man and a woman. You wreck the fact that they're different. That whole talking point that of men and women being different gets trashed. Now it's just this blurry whatever. And everyone's masculinized, feminized in a weird way. And it really prevents the union from being a proper union. And then when you destroy the family, you destroy the society, you destroy cities, you destroy cultures. It's morally debased stuff that happens. So this is a very big conversation about why, we talk about gender studies and feminist studies classes, and it's not just about them spouting stuff for the sake of it. They want to wreck the traditional family. They don't like that stuff. They don't like, conservative values or traditional values or whatever you want to call them. That's offensive to them and deeply threatening to them. Even just head of household. They treat it like it's this man who's going to be stern and mean and want to hurt you and get in line, like an authority figure, that you're afraid of, the great and powerful Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. They interpret that as that when really what it just is it's a man who's married to a woman and, takes care of her and loves her and, works really hard and is in a position of authority in the house and feels that the decisions he's making are the best for the family and does it out of love and respect and everyone's respected and everyone's loved and everyone's kept safe. And that is what it is. And I'm not saying it's for everybody, right? Some guys may not want that. Some women may not want, that's fine. But the bashing of it is what needs to be addressed, because it's being bashed because they're afraid that this new way of living, they have the revival of the trad wife. They're worried that this is going to spread, and heaven forbid, feminism will be trashed and exposed for what it is, which is a cancer to women and to society at large. So that's what's going on here. Hit that subscribe button for me. Hit that like button. We are close to, if we haven't already hit 100K by the time this airs. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being so loyal. It's incredible. We're just 7 months young and the show is doing so well, and it's doing so well because of you. If you haven't subscribed already, I know some of you watch, you forgot to hit that subscribe. It means so much to me if you would hit subscribe, hit like, get in the chat, let the algorithm know that your voices will not be silenced. And it helps us to do bigger and better things. So thank you, and hit that subscribe button. Number 3 is kind of incredible to me in many ways. Let's do it.
No, what I'm really scared of is men that ask you on a date to go hike. Hey, do you want to go hiking? I'd rather jump off the cliff. Yes, I want to go hiking so I can hike up to the top of the mountain and nosedive off the mountain. Yeah. Read the room, buddy. Read the room. I don't want to go hiking. I don't want to go hiking. I don't want to go hiking. I don't want to go hiking.
Okay, so that was like an excuse to draw attention to her boobs, which I don't give a look about. Listen, does she seem likable? Like, honestly, do you want to take her out? I'd rather sit at home, watch a movie, grab some popcorn. Really, I mean, it's no surprise to me that these women aren't being approached. Nothing wrong with what she looks like, but insufferable personality beyond belief. She's saying she'd rather jump off a cliff than go hiking. Honey, I think they'd rather jump off a cliff than take you out with that attitude. So what's wrong with a hike? Nothing. Especially if you live in a place where the hiking is awesome, you live in a mountain town, or you live in, Texas, we have some cool trails, or you live in New England. Now, I'm not telling you as a woman to go off on a hike in the forest alone with a strange man. That is not my advice. But this is somebody this is a populated place. It's a public environment. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's everything right with it, because you get to know the person without distractions. There's no wine. There's no substances. There's no fancy, restaurant. There's no glitz and glam. It's just you and him getting to know each other. Is it worth it? Are you compatible? Is this something you want to do? It's as basic as it gets, and basic is the absolute best way to get to know someone. So guys, if you ask her to go on a hike and she treats it like she's the queen and deserves more, let her go. She ain't worth it. Do y'all have passwords, by the way, to your YouTube, to your email, to your bank accounts, to your credit cards, to all that stuff that you value so much that you don't want people getting into, your investments, whatever it may be? Do you have passwords? Because I do. And I learned the hard way that my passwords were on the dark web, and people had access to them, and I needed to rush in and change them before something happened. Identity theft happens every 14 seconds in this country. And you know what I did? I got a service called Aura, which I am sharing with you today. Aura sponsored today's show, and they're amazing. I have a 2-week free trial for you. Free. And all you have to do is go to aura.com/Jedediah Bila. It's going to be linked in the description. And it's going to tell you for free how many times your passwords appear on the dark web. So don't you want to know if somebody has access to the passwords that go to your bank account, or go to your YouTube, or go to your social media, or go wherever, your credit cards? You want to be informed. You want to know, right? Listen, you don't want identity theft happening to you. It spirals your life out of control. It's horrible. It's a hole to dig your way out of that you don't want. So some of the people in the audience went and found their passwords were on the dark web 10, 15, 20 times, even higher in some cases, and they changed their passwords. No harm done. But if they didn't know what would have happened, it would have been a disaster. I'm not tech savvy, or is super easy to use. It monitors the dark web for your emails, your passwords, your social security numbers on top of all that, and sends alerts right to your phone if something's going on that's a little bit shady. So if someone opens a credit card in your name, for example, Aura sends an alert. The VPN also lets you stay anonymous. Very important in this era of privacy is dead. It lets you stay anonymous by keeping your browsing history private, personal, safe, and encrypted. You have nothing to lose here. I want you to go to aura.com/Jedediah Bila. I want you to head over and I want you to send me an email. Or you can either send me an email or you can put it in the comments or you can put it in the chat. How many times did your passwords appear on the dark web? Remember, this is a 2-week free trial. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. So take advantage of it. Everyone in my life has done so and they're like, thank God. So just do it. Just saying. Number 4, let's do it.
We are in a fuggo epidemic. It is not the time to be desperate. If anything, it is the time to be single and save yourself from embarrassment and public humiliation. We need to be publicly humiliating the losers, not ourselves. Women beginning to outperform men in education, in finance, and social network. The list goes on and on and on. Leave the men behind. It is beyond me how women are even desiring the current pool of men that exist. I would understand if our media was displaying some of these really great men. All of our media now is displaying loser behavior because it is a mirror to our reality. There are no good men. And accepting the bare minimum, or when a man does a gesture outside of the bare minimum, he is not a hero. He is a person who we should have higher expectations for. The way you treat yourself is how you will allow others to treat you, and if a man cannot treat you as well as you treat yourself, get rid of him. I beg you to stand up and to have some self-respect.
Okay. So the golden nugget sentence there, which we will get back to in a second, is there are no good men. Did you hear that? There are no good men is what she said. And we'll get back to that in a second. First of all, her face doesn't move. How could you relate to somebody? I will say it again, and I will say it over and over and over. I know there's women out there who do these shows and they're like, I get Botox and I get, yes, honey, you look strange, right? This pattern of just women obsessing over youth, like, and not being able to just like let it go. It's such a privilege to age. Like, I mean, really, it's such a privilege to age. Secondly, this desire to look like a mannequin all the time and like dead is just crazy to me. I mean, I don't know how anyone can relate to you if you can't squint, if you can't raise your eyebrows in surprise, if you can't smile and see. You look creepy. You look so creepy. I say it with love because I understand that as women age, they get nervous. And I understand that, you know, all the feelings happen about like, what does this mean for me and my attractiveness? But I tell you, you look at a woman who is aging gracefully and you put her side by side with one of these like filler and Botox frozen monsters, and there is no comparison. There just is. You don't look younger. You just look weird, honey. That's one. And it's hard for people to feel what you're saying because you look dead. There are no good men. So everything else that she said loses value to me when you come out and say there are no good men. Because now I know that you're just a man hater. So everything else you said about, you know, women knowing your value and knowing what you bring to the table and what you deserve, or however you worded it in a little bit of a creepy way, frankly. But there is some merit to knowing your worth. There is some merit to not engaging in, people shouldn't engage in relationships where they're being abused, where they're being disrespected. You should raise those concerns and obviously physical abuse is a whole other thing. But this idea that underlying, like the subtext of everything you just said, is that all men are bad, all men are trash, all men aren't worth it, all men are evil, you have to protect yourself from men, just tells me that you're either damaged by men. Maybe you dated a crap guy, now you got this damage. I don't know. Maybe you've been around the block too many times and you're feeling, some type of way about it, which is damaging to women. And I'm not saying this is her. I'm saying there are many reasons why women wind up making videos like this. Maybe you're alone and lonely and looking for excuses. Maybe you got some personality flaws that you don't want to own up to. You don't want to blame yourself, so you're blaming out. I don't know what it is, but it's a very, very strange thing. And the thing is, she's talking about these women outperforming men. And what she means is that, in education and, careers and all these things. The problem is that none of these women are happy. They're not happy. I've been in all of these top tier industries. They're not happy. They're so unhappy 99.9% of the time. So how does it serve you? Oh, you outperformed men in career. Okay, great. You outperformed men in education. Are you happy? Well, no, you look miserable. You look like you're dying inside, festering with anger and resentment and everything else. You don't look happy. So it's not a win for you. Also, it's the same women that will say we don't need men all men are bad, we're leaving men behind. And then you turn 40 and you're like, where are all the good guys? So it's not real. It's not a real feeling that you have. That's, I don't need men. It's something that you say in your 20s and 30s when you're feeling really confident and getting a lot of attention and feel like you can get away with it. And you're like, I'm the shit. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and realize, maybe I do want kids. Maybe I do. Where's the good guy to come? I do want a man. Like, wait a minute, hold on a second. And you realize that this was all crap that you were sold and repeated to yourself. And then it's sad because then I see these 45-year-old women who are suffering inside and they can't, like, they're lost, right? It's too late in many cases to have children. It's so sad. I'm not saying these things because I want to hurt women. I'm saying these things because I want to wake them up, because I've seen so many like broken women that get older and realize that all this crap that they fed themselves their whole lives didn't mean anything to them. It just didn't mean anything to them. So if the underlying text is there are no good men, everything else that she says, write it off. Forget it. Done. She hates men. End of story. All right, last clip of the day. This one's a good one. Let's do it.
There's a lot to be angry about. Really quickly, can we stop this whole soft feminine woman shit? I need you bitches full of rage. There is a lot to be angry about. There is a lot to be angry about. Okay? Be a rageful woman. It's honestly better for you. Also, this whole soft feminine woman stuff. Like, let your emotions out. Be expressive. Be expressive. When you hold shit in, that creates illness and disease in your body. Thanks so much for coming to my TED Talk.
She is equating being soft and feminine with holding stuff in, which is really interesting to me. She's right that holding emotions in will create disease in your body. Because when you trap, if you're really pissed at someone and you don't express it, you will trap that anger in an organ. Like, that is true. You will induce chronic illness and chronic disease by trapping emotions. However, she is equating soft and feminine with being fake. Like, almost like you're not expressing your real rage. And that's not what it is. That is not what's happening. When we talk about being soft and feminine, we talk about sinking into your natural feminine instincts, which is not to have your testosterone blowing up to the ceiling, which is not to be following high-powered career paths, which is not to be feeling pressured to compete with a man, which is not trying to mimic a man, which is not trying to be at that high-level, fast-paced environment that men thrive in. Their hormones, their bodies, they thrive in it. My husband gets up in the morning and has a coffee and goes to the gym and feels amazing. If I did that, my cortisol would be wrecked. Now, I'm not saying I would recommend that for him if I was giving him advice just from a health perspective, just FYI, because I'm not into, I believe in a big breakfast, all these things, regardless. But I see him thriving. So I'm like, who am I to judge, But men and women are different. Our hormones are completely different. Completely different. Like, so much so that people who were recommending fasting to women were having to eat their words because they were like, oh, wait a minute, we can't recommend the kind of fasting that works for guys for women because their hormones will tank. We have to adjust this. There's modifications. There's certain times of the month when you shouldn't be fasting actually at all as a woman, whereas guys are pretty steady. It's a different world, right? Embrace the differences. It took me so long in my life. It took me, and I have these moments with you where I'm so honest. It took me so long in my life to embrace that men and women are different because I grew up wanting to be like strong and tough and all of these things. And these were very masculine attributes. Like, I didn't want to be the damsel in distress. I wanted to be the Terminator. I wanted to be Sarah Connor in T2. I wanted to prove that felt good to me because society told me that would feel good to me. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to be. And I spent so many years in that energy and it was so depleting. It was so depleting. And now it's really hard to sink into that feminine, to forget all that and to sink in. But when I do, oh man, I feel so calm and so peaceful and so nurtured. And that's not to say, listen, express your emotions. But she is equating a loud, masculine, rageful woman with peace. Because she's saying, oh, you're getting your emotions out, meaning that the assumption is that all of these calmer, more feminine women are full of rage that they're not letting out. Honey, the key here is that when you lean into your feminine, you're not full of rage. When you lean into your feminine, you don't have that crazy adrenaline, spiked, angry, crazy. That's not what it is. When you lean into your feminine, the hormones that build up your femininity grow and prosper, and you don't feel that rage crazy. It's not a phony costume. It's sinking into what's natural for your body that's then giving you a kickback of something that feels good for you. That's what's happening. So just to correct all the crazy. She looks so mad too. Thank you for being here today. Did you hit that subscribe button? Did you hit that like button? Do it if you didn't do it already. You know I love you. Lots of good stuff coming, but just want to say thank you for all of the success of the show thus far. Let's take it to the top, shall we? Let's do it. Bye.